I'm Dora Momanyi, and I know, looking at me, you have already formed a prejudgment in your mind. Maybe you're thinking, who is this lady or who is this young person? I'm a young person and I'm also a youth. So I just want to tell you a small experience or story about myself. Because today, what we are doing majorly is going to share our experiences. So as I was growing up and joined university, you can imagine looking at me, I got a first class. And I know you're already thinking I was very brilliant. But if you can relate, many young people, if you are an above average child at your family, your parents will probably want you to further your studies, and that is what my parents did. In no time, I found myself seated in a master's class. But I can tell you through this time, I didn't think even one time that I could create employment for somebody else. All I wanted to do was find the employment, go out there, find a white-collar job and start earning well. And you can also imagine today I use social media more often, but that time I thought social media was actually a waste of time. So at your age, most of you, those who are young, I didn't have an opportunity to sit in such a workshop at all. And I didn't even care about youth and women. I didn't care about what they're contributing to society or to whoever. But I didn't even remember that ujana ni moshi na inafanya nini? Inaisha, si ndio? Inapita haraka. So what I have done most of my life since the time I learned that I can do more than looking for a job, I have spent most of my time compensating for the times I lost. I think you can tell I could be a very good public speaker or I could be a very good entrepreneur, but I didn't take that opportunity to do that. So today I'm really privileged to stand and moderate a session for young people who stepped out of the common world into a very difficult decision. Agri-entrepreneurship is not very easy. You sleep not knowing how you're waking up the next day or what you're going to do. And you actually see some uncertainties coming your way. You know, maybe tomorrow I don't have raw materials or I'm not probably going to make income. But you still wake up to keep on wanting to create employment for other people. So today, in the spirit of agri-entrepreneurship, I want to tell you that it is the network I have created over it's a short period of time, and the resilience, which is one of the strategies in agroecology, are the ones that have kept me to date. Otherwise, I could be dead on day one, the day I decided to go into entrepreneurship. So I want us now to appreciate the people we are with in this room, because these are our networks and they are our net worth. In future, you'll probably be called to a place where you have never entered, to rooms you have never entered, or tables you have not sat in, courtesy of the people who are joining this workshop with you today. So I want us to take time and listen to who is joining us today and appreciate them and mention them on the tables that we have a privilege of sitting. First, I would like to welcome you, Charles, from Africa Agribusiness Academy. And thank you to all the partners here today and giving me and all the young entrepreneurs here an opportunity to be here today.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you and to meet also those that I've met before. First, I want to thank you all for accepting this invitation, and also thank our collaborators, our coalition partners, that is SNV, PELAM, East African Farmers Federation, and FAO. Is there somebody from East African Farmers Federation? Here? I did not hear their names or their presence, but FAO will be joining us later at midday. So on behalf of Africa Agribusiness Academy, I just want to introduce HORTIALTA, because Africa Agribusiness Academy has been implementing the Youth in Agroecology and Learning Business Track Africa, that is the ALTA program, for the last 2 years. The first year, the ALTA program was implemented by an organization called AgriProFocus. I think most of you may have known AgriProFocus. But when the organization, most of the Dutch organizations decided to merge some of their activities and programs, then they were shifted into an organization called NFP. NFP is the Netherlands Food Partnership. So when CTA, those of you who know CTA, those who know AgriProFocus, they were all, kind of taken together and formed a big organization called Netherlands Food Partnership. So it is this NFP that partnered with Africa Agribusiness Academy to implement the ALTA program in Kenya. This program is also present in Ethiopia, Rwanda, and Uganda. So in Kenya, AAA is the one that was doing so. And after 2 years of the program or the project, we are now coming to an end of this project, which is supported by the bigger ICARE Foundation. Our aim of this program was first to promote agroecology within the context of the youth and women. At the same time, form coalitions or partnerships that will promote agroecology within these target groups. Thank you very much for being patient and being supportive to this project until now, that we have to come together physically and do some learning networks, share our knowledge, share experiences, so that we are able to know where we can propel ourselves in the next years. I'm so glad that you people have seen in agroecology business opportunities to propel. And I can tell you, the issue of food systems, and business orientation or entrepreneurship is very critical in the coming years. The issue of climate change. Recently, you had the climate smart agriculture coalitions or networks for developing a strategic plan. I think it's 2022-2026, and this tells you that agroecology and climate smart agriculture is the next thing in addressing food security and climate change mitigation. So I don't want to talk much. I just want to once more welcome you and thank our partners, especially SNV, PELAM, EAF, and FAO for joining us and being part of our coalition and being part of our steering committee in this ALTA program. Thank you very much, and I wish you a very nice day. Thank you.
I want to echo the objectives of today. First, we've said let's share information, let's share knowledge. Let's also learn, let's mingle, let's talk to other people. You don't know who you're going to meet next. And number 2, let's create business linkages. For you to complete a value chain, you're probably not able to complete a value chain as one person. You need different stakeholders who play a key role in completing your value chain. So let us create linkages, business to business or industry to academia, various types of linkages. And also let us tell the world what we do best. What you're doing, tell people, let them hear, so that the next time there is an opportunity in maybe, let's say in mushroom farming, somebody just gives you a call, hey, can you help with training farmers somewhere or stuff like that. And we're also going to listen to our keynote speakers on pitching. We know even if you listen to a pitching class a million times, you're never confident until the day you win that grant, Cindy. Yeah. So we're going to, if you have learned enough about pitching, we're going to renew our knowledge and learn afresh. We know those who are in value addition, there is a rapid change in consumer demands, CDO. Every day consumers want to eat something different. So therefore we need to learn product development anytime, every time, so that we are able to meet their needs, so that we can sell in the market. We sell what they want. And then I know all of us, we are looking for money, we are looking for grants, we are looking to grow our businesses. We're also going to listen from people in finance and marketing. So I hope today is going to be an highlight for you as an individual and for your business as we go through the objectives of today.
Good morning, once again. Good morning. I know the code is works for people from Western, so I'm hoping tutachangamka kidogo, si ndio? Once the tea comes, we're going to be fine. So my name is Leah Maura. As I said, I work with SNV in the Veggies for Planet and People project. And we've worked with some of you have worked with Yalta, but I've met most of you in different platforms, especially the caravans. Some of you have met in caravans, the people who we don't work with different places. But I know most of you, we are quite familiar. So I'll tell you a little bit about the Veggies for Planet and People project. Sorry, I can't be up here because of how long the HDMI cable is. It's okay. It's okay. So the Veggies for Planet and People project is a 5-year project which we implement with our partner, who is the World Vegetable Center. The project has been running since 2020 and it will end in 2025 and hopefully maybe continue. We are funded by the IKEA Foundation and we work in 2 countries, in Kenya and Ethiopia. You had Yalta works in, I think, 4 countries, and the two of the countries that we work with, Kenya and Ethiopia, are also partner countries for us. And then we work in the traditional vegetable value chain. That's our entry point. So mainly we work in the vegetable value chain and we promote the use of regenerative and circular technologies. So what this means is that we would like as much as possible to transition smallholder farmers, SMEs, to the use of regenerative and circular technologies, and as much as possible inculcate these practices within your family. So whether it's vegetables or any other part of farming, it could be maize, it could be sweet potatoes, it could be whatever, but in the end transition your whole farm to regenerative or circular practices. So youth and women are our main target. We target to work at least 60% of our target beneficiaries to be youth and women. And we are hoping that when you are adopting agroecological technologies or regenerative technologies, you're not making losses. We are not hoping that you're going to go into organic farming and then you make losses from it, or use these technologies and then you're not making profit from it. We'd like you to make money. In fact, one of our key indicators is around money. So we say that we are hoping that the youth and women can make about $9 million. I've never seen $9 million in my life, but I'm hoping that when I aggregate all of your sales, whether it's in rabbit farming or whatever it is you're going to be doing, that I'll see $9 million in my Excel sheets. Hopefully you will make it. So that's one of the things, one of our objectives. We'd like the youth and the women to make money. So we want to create as many platforms as possible that are going to channel growth within your enterprises. We're going to look at how can our enterprises grow, how can they make money, how can our vegetable farming enterprises make money, depending on whatever else you're doing, and how can we also create jobs. Dora was saying about us looking for jobs and not creating jobs. So we are hoping that we are going to be the people who create jobs for others. The three things we are going to deal with here today, and we have outsourced this function to various experts, is one, about funding. Money is a very key, interesting concept. Even me, I'd like to know how to get some money. The other one is how to pitch, how to market yourself. And the last one is about standardization and safety of the product. Because as I said, we want human health. So the safety of the product that you're churning out there needs to be evaluated. So those are the key three things we would like to speak about today. And hopefully you're going to feel that it's useful to you. I don't know if the three objectives speak to your challenges or not.
Yes.
Do they?
Yes.
Ama we tweak it. Is there something we left out? We don't know. Yes?
The website, the social media presence.
Social media presence.
Like the question on website and
How to create a website. I don't know, Jeremiah, with your pitching, you have that in mind. Social media presence. Maybe we can even ask the people who have social media presence to give us feedback on how do you do it.
in terms of having a website,
Mm.
clients can log in and maybe see what you're selling.
I don't know if it's maybe as you are saying it's part of the business pitching.
Mhm.
My issue is about I'm having a challenge of having a website where customers can log in, see who is this the person doing poultry farming, where reachable, working hours and everything, prices of your products and everything. So there is need for maybe if it is the schedule of the day we get to hear something about it. Thank you. And who you can go to in terms of having a website. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's a good feedback. Anyone else? Feedback of something you'd like to know that is not within the three things? Or you don't feel maybe it has been captured? We are fine.
Let us first tackle.
You first start with money, whatever is here, then you will give feedback. Yeah? All right, that's fine, that's fine. So yeah, that's it from me. Thank you very much for listening. And hopefully we'll have an engaging session.
Good morning. I'm here to give just a few highlights of the Alta initiative as we wind up to the next session. The Alta initiative was a project that was formed in 2020, as Charles was telling us about. And the major partner, the major donor is Netherlands Food Partnership, and we are in 4 countries: Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda. This initiative is set to end in December this year. So in short, we have been involving the youth between the age brackets of 18 years. You can't hear me? We have been involving the youth from the age of 18 to 35 and highlighting their stories, giving them mentors and just monitoring their progress and ensuring that we have an impact in their agroecological careers. So our objectives were to connect the stakeholders and the youth. We were also to share insights on how to be better in the agroecological sector. We were also to build and strengthen the coalitions such as Pelam Kenya, SMV, FAO, EFF, and other companies who have been there to support the whole project. Yes, and collectively learn on the opportunities that are there, exposing our mentees and the mentors into all workshops, trainings that will help them be better.
So we will display, if you came with your products, I have seen my friend with mushroom. If you come with your products, we will display them outside there. And then let's take time to see what our friends are doing and support them, even buy from them. I know all our products are healthy, so you have a chance to buy rabbit meat. They come with rabbit meat, which is very healthy right from the farm today, right outside there. So we can display our products out there.
So this is like, it's popcorn, huh?
Yeah, it's basically popcorn, but now from red. So
Oh, nice.
you know, we are used to popping popcorn, but
Yeah.
now with technology, we use a technology that uses high pressure, high temperature. You can basically pop.
Oh,
Yes.
interesting. So you make popcorns from basically every type of carbohydrate product.
Yeah, from this cereal, you see, mostly we are focusing on the traditional cereals which are forgotten and they have a higher nutritional benefit.
So my name is Alan, and we are in the business of providing smallholder horticultural farmers with precision advisories and market linkages, and we are using a crop mapping mobile technology to help them achieve this goal.
Oh, nice. So how do you do that? How do you achieve that?
So for the advisories, we use earth observation data. We use machine learning and artificial intelligence. We get this data and then we synthesize this data using our professionals who are agronomists, who actually synthesize this data in a more simpler manner that a farmer can understand. And then we send it using our messaging platform. Yes, for farmer buyer matching, we also link farmers who actually are harvesting. Our system is able to detect farmers who are harvesting, and we link them to large-scale buyers within their locality.
Habari yako?
Mzuri.
Hapa uko na nini?
Hapa tuko na variety of dried vegetables through solar drying. We have amaranth, we have black nightshades, we have spider plant and cowpea.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, how long does it take to dry?
It takes 2 hours.
Oh, just
From the farm after sorting, then we cut. After cutting, we wash, and then we boil for 7 minutes, adding salt. Yes, and after 2 hours in the solar dry, they are dried and we remove them and we pack them.
How are they consumed?
We have sensitized the community and they have started liking it. Long time ago with our age we were consuming this, but you find the young people and the generation of today, they have started embracing it. And now we have even friends whose children are abroad. They are taking them to their children abroad.
Ah, interesting.
So with the support, we'll be able to reach the entire community on sensitization of dry vegetables.
What are the benefits of the other vegetables?
The benefits, there's a lot of material, minerals. These vegetables, there's a lot of vitamins. We have potassium, calcium, and also they are in booster of immunity and value for money. We increase our income.
Ah,
yes.
Interesting. So how much do they go for?
Okay, we have a package of 250 grams, but depending on what you order. Like this one, somebody has just ordered, taking to the sun in UK, is 250 grams, which is costing 300 shillings. Yes.
So thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Habari?
Mzuri.
Sasa hapa unafanya nini?
Naonyesha hii unga ya ngwashi ama orange fresh sweet potato.
Oh. So ina benefits gani na kibiashara inakupeleka aje?
Kibiashara sio mbaya.
Yes.
Kwa sababu watu wengi wamejua faida zake. Hii ni organic, purely organic. Haina chemicals. Ukimix na ile unga ingine, utatengeneza uji, ugali, chapati, mandazi na ni chakula mzuri.
So this is organic.
Hii ni organic.
Organic sweet potatoes, organic
orange, fresh sweet potato.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a mixture of all of them.
Una mix na hizo zingine.
Oh.
Iko na a lot of benefits.
Yes.
Ina boost immune. Iko na mambo ya kansa. Ina reduce mambo ya pressure. Yes. Na hata inasaidia kuona mtu wa mambo ya macho. Yes.
Na nini yake, shelf life yake ni how long?
It can stay for more than 4 months. Yes, even more.
So you use it in porridge?
Orange, ugali, chapati, and mandazi.
Oh, interesting. Na iko na a certain taste or iko tu?
No, it's tasteless. Kwa sababu hii ngwashi iko na sukari, lakini ile mixture yake 1 tablespoon una mix na kikombe kimoja hiyo unga ingine, hautasikia hiyo taste ya hapo kasukari. It is tasteless. Yeah.
Na how much is it?
For today it's 300. 1 kg, a half kg, 150.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Asante.
These are turkeys. Turkeys.
Oh, these are turkey chicks.
Yeah, turkey chicks. Actually, we call them turkey puts. They are 2.5 weeks as you see them. At this particular stage, as I've just told Madam, it's hard to know the male and the female. Mostly watu wengi, they buy them at 1 month old, because at that particular time, that's when I can be able to tell you this one can be male, this one can be female. Not 100% sure, but maybe at a percentage of 95.
So the identifying features for male and female, what exactly do you look
the males are usually huge, even when they are at 1 month old, and the feet, now you can be sure with the feet. Miguu yake ni kubwa kabisa, you can even just tell ile ni female, ile ni male, because the females gonna kamguu kadogo.
Interesting. So how much do they go for?
They go like this size goes for 1,000 because they are 2.5 weeks. When they are 1 month old, they go for 1,500 because now you can be able to choose. I want this male, I want this female. Na watu wengi wataniachia males peke yake. They just pick maybe 2 males and then hizo zingine zote females. So that's why the price goes up as the physical features identify them.
You can't tell female and male?
No, you can't be able to tell. So see, like When nasema at 1 month old the male will have mguu kubwa na the female itakuwa na mguu ndogo. But now you see sahi you can't even tell because it's like they are almost all at the same size.
Thank you. So I'm working with the Minister of Agriculture and the Enable Youth Kenya program. It's called Kenya because it's an African concept kind of program. I have met somebody called Alex. We have met somewhere. Here he is your mentor. And actually, I can say that I applaud, we as Enable Youth, we applaud him because we met somewhere in South Africa when he was pitching. And he qualified as #1. That was so great. We were so proud of him as Kenyans. And I want to see, we have other Enable Youth Kenya program participants. I can see Gracious? Yeah. Any other person, Enable Youth? Who's it? Yes. Yes. That is our Cycle 1 beneficiaries. But I'm not here to talk about that. Let me go straight to financing because I think that is where we are scoring very high. It's a Ministry of Agriculture program, but it is funded by the African Development Bank. I'm saying as government that probably it's because we prepared our youth mostly to look at white-collar jobs. But again, we do realize that today, white-collar jobs are not there. So that is why we are having those kind of statistics, whereby we are having a very high population of youth, and then they are the ones who are suffering a lot in terms of employment. So, and we know the agriculture, the agriculture sector, as it has, we have seen it here, and as we know it, because most of us come from the rural areas. We know Kenya is very good in agriculture, and almost every part, even in the ASAL areas, a lot of agriculture is happening there. Therefore, we do know that agriculture can employ most of the youth that we are having in terms of business. And when I talk in terms of business, I know it has been very challenging for many young people to think about getting into business vis-a-vis getting a white-collar job. Even the young people I have in my own house, I push them to start business, but then their mindset is about white-collar. But I know 5 years to come, we are going to have a different mindset. And the one thing that we keep saying, look at the millionaires we have in Kenya, and I know you have heard that. Let it not become like a narrative, but let it be a reality. The millionaires we have in Kenya is not the millionaires, those who have earned their money clean. It's not those people who have been employed. It is those people who are in business. True? Yeah, it's those people who are in business. And we know that we have a group of young people who are looking at getting a lot of money and having a lot of money. We want to live a good life because that's what we are seeing. Vehicles everywhere in the towns. But yet, how do we get that money? Let me tell you, the only way we are going to get that money is through a business. One of the business areas is agriculture. Let's not just complain behind the scene and say, we wish it was done this way. Please give your feedback. And when you give feedback, it is well packaged and we can be able to make progress. So we also have what we call the Uwezo Fund. And all these monies are meant to make sure that young people and women are able to engage in business. Those are finances that are available. And let me tell you, those finances are too much. They are a lot. I know you are Kenyans and you may say, yes, the way maybe it is done may not be the right way. And we need that's why I'm saying we need your feedback so that it can be packaged the better way. But let me tell you, I know the money is there. It could be misused, but the money is there. Then we are having private sector. I have talked with one of the stakeholders, the Kenya the KCB Foundation. How many have heard about the KCB Foundation? Yeah, quite a number. How many have benefited from it? Beneficiaries of KCB Foundation. Because the KCB Foundation, that is the Kenya Commercial Bank Foundation, it has quite an amount of money, but they're also facing the same challenges. As we have not started dispatching our resources, but of course we have been benchmarking with other institutions that are having resources. KCB Foundation is one of them. The challenges, and maybe that is one of the reasons why we are delayed in the dispatching our Enable Youth Kenya program monies, because KCB Foundation comes and says that they are giving the money, but then the repayment, so many challenges, which we need to work on so that we can be able to be sure that the young person can establish and pay back the money because all these monies are loans. So let me talk about the Enable Youth Kenya program. It is an African Development Bank funded program, but again we are saying it's African Development Bank funded, but it's a Government of Kenya funded program because it's a loan. African Development Bank will only give the Kenya government loans. So this is a loan to the people of Kenya. And the objective of this one is employment creation. The model that we are using is incubation process. For those who are here, they know. I know we are saying that we recruit the youth, and then they are incubated, and during that incubation, they come up with they are trained. They come up with a bankable proposal, and that bankable proposal is validated and given to the AFC. That is Agricultural Finance Corporation for financing. So the Agricultural Finance Corporation has 3 facilities that we are working with them as the Enable Youth Kenya program. We have the interest-free. We have the interest-free venture capital, that is specifically for startups. And then we have the soft loan, 5% interest, specifically for accelerated group. And then we're having another facility that we are calling the risk guarantee facility. This one is going now to the financial institutions that will be able to give youth money at market rate, but then they are insured. Because how we came up with this program is because of the challenges I've talked about, whereby the youth has no collateral, the youth has no assets, then the interest rates in the financial institutions, the partners, it's very high. I think the Enable Youth come to mitigate on that, because as you can see, for startups, somebody with nothing, and because we really negotiated this with the African Development Bank, and we were really wondering as a government, a youth who has not done agribusiness as per se as their own business in the past, to what extent can we trust them with a loan? And that's how we made it a 0% interest, so that you're given the capital and you return the capital. But again, we still know that one is still a challenge. Your mentor, Alex, was engaging me behind there. So use him a lot. He has a lot of information and a lot of good information that can help us in this. But we argued so that 0%, because we cannot have young people leaving campuses or colleges, because our program is targeting diploma and degree holders. And then we are saying experience. So you have this bit of experience. Yeah, that is what we are trying to avoid, whereby you want to go for a job interview, and then you're told, where is your experience? And then you are wondering, where was I supposed to get experience? So we said, therefore we don't want to close out the young people who are startups. Let's give them a challenge. Can you be able to start up? Can we give you a 0 interest? You go and do your business and you return the money. But the grace period, the period of returning the money, you are able to discuss depending on the value chain, because we are doing quite a number of value chains. So you are able to discuss with the Agricultural Finance Corporation. But as for the 5%, it is that youth who has started clothing. You are starting to work. It is not somebody who is, and then the risk guarantee is that young person who is already having a good business. So when I look at much of these businesses that we're having out here, those ones I would call them accelerated. So the target beneficiary, we have they are diploma and degree holders, because again, we were saying that we want these people to start a business that can employ other people. You can employ other people because the program is targeted to help young people come up with businesses and also employ others. So it is income generating and also employment creation program. So we want, therefore, a person who can employ somebody can only become a manager of their own project. So that again, you employ others who you manage. That is why it's the degree or a diploma holder. Of any degree, we don't have any specialization. And so those are the 2 levels. The process of entry, you are recruited and admitted to one of the 8 incubation centers. Then the person is trained for 3 to 6 months, depending on whether you are standard or an accelerator. And then you are, by the time you graduate, all of you are supposed to have developed a bankable proposal. It's not, we recruit 520 per year. I know we are a bit late for this year. Then out of these 520, not everybody will get financing. The process is it's a bit, because as you hear, the financial has to be very convinced that you'll be able to pay back the resources. And those ones I had mentioned something. So the facilities, I think I had talked about these 2 were created, and also the Enable Youth, essentially, it is for that. Then we are having the private sector player. This is the KCB Foundation. And this is what they are doing, that they are able to offer young people accounts, and then they are able to loan facilities, decide for small, medium, and large-scale farmers. And they have customized packages. I know they are cutting across, even in terms of livestock, they're having those resources for the youth. I know we have other private sector players, who are not within the government. The KCB Foundation, why I mentioned it is because also the government is involved. But I know we also have other private sector players who are giving financing, but I may not know much about what they are doing. We usually see them also on advertising on the newspapers and other platforms. I thought I should be able to bring this. Can you be able to see it? They are so small, I couldn't expand it further. I don't know whether it can increase more than that. No. Because what I mean by the different nodes that somebody can get involved into, this one, when you look at that, and I'll share this presentation with the organizers, is for us to just think through when you're talking about a specific value chain. There are so many things that you can be able to do in a specific value chain. Starting from input supply. We start with input supply, we talk about production, we talked about aggregation. Then there are so many other services that happen that are there when you're doing production. Then we are talking about post-harvest, then processing, packaging, then market. And market.
My name is Nicholas. I have been working with young talent, just like you said. Now I'm going to ask a bit more questions because I've been working with Wezo Fund in Muhoroni sub-county. As the Ministry of Agriculture, because we're rolling out aquaculture through the county government, but the elderly have refused to surrender land to youths. They are not giving youths a portion to do their agriculture. So what are the ministry, what are people doing so that youths are given land to be able to to invest. That is one. Two, how do you evaluate the youths in need? Because he has complained about youths. I've also tried to apply several times. I'm never shortlisted. So how do you evaluate the youths that are in need of this program? Then lastly, how do you monitor that the youths have actually implemented the finances you're giving them and they are able really to repay? Then you talked about the challenges you have as EF, that is Youth Enterprise Fund, Uwezo Fund, and of course that enabling program. Now, some of the challenges as we are under Uwezo Fund, we have the committee. The committee are just appointed by the MP, the area MP. So you realize that this committee have vested interest. They serve the interest of the MP. So they have ghost groups. These groups they bring in and they must be funded. Now, when you're following up for them to repay, these groups are nowhere to be seen. And sometimes we are able to receive threats that where are you following this group and that. I think you should work on that. So that these finances, like 10 groups have been given 50,000. When you follow up, you have threats, you don't know where these groups are. I think 500,000 going nowhere is a problem. So as a ministry, I think you should be able to work on that. Lastly, extension officers. Under Uwezo Fund, you cannot be able to monitor. We only have one youth development officer per sub-county, one. And probably, like Muroni, we have funded, so far we have funded like 370 groups. He cannot be able to follow up himself. One person following up 370 groups is very difficult. So I think the government need to employ more. Like you said, youths are there. There are youths in agriculture. They can be able to employ them, even if giving them finances on allowances. When they visit like several groups, they are given allowances based on the groups they visit. In that way, I think you're going to be very successful as a ministry. Thank you.
Did I miss your first two? Because as I realized you're going to many.
Youth access to land. How is the ministry enabling youth to access to land? The elderly have had land and they don't want.
The second one?
How do you evaluate youths in need as enable youth? But most likely, I want you to talk about youth access to land. The elderly only give lands in Wanalika way.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And actually, as a Enable Youth Kenya program, when we were starting the program, we had to check on the main challenges that we want to address. And we realized that access to land was major. The other challenge was knowledge and skills. The other challenge is financing. The final one was market. And I think we have done something on all those levels. Access to land, we carried out a survey on how youth can be able to access land for them to invest. Because for you to be able to do a profitable business, then you need land. Land or space, because we have talked about land and space. And this land is not in your hands. It's not in the hands of the youth, it's in the elder's hands. And as you say, land is a very emotive issue. That's what we realized when it comes to Kenya. Land is very emotive. It's not something that you can even go and dictate to somebody what to do about their land, because land is yours. So what we came up with, how a youth can be able to access land, is through lease. Lease. You can even lease from your parents. And in Enable Youth Kenya program, when you come and tell us that you're starting your business and the business is going to be practiced on your parents' land, that land, you have to have an agreement, not just a word of mouth. Atu mtoto wangu nimemkubalia afanyie hapa hapana. It must be an agreement, because some of this investment is an investment that will take at least 5 years for you to be able to make progress and get a return from your business, and a return that is good. So depending on what kind of business that you are starting off, before AFC gives you that loan, then you must have a lease that is able to at least that will be able to ensure. If it is supposed to break even within 2 years, that lease must be 2 years. If it is about 5 years, that lease must be 5 years. And well-done lease that can be taken to a court of law. So we are really encouraging the youth, because again, we want you to get into business. We are encouraging you to not get things for free. No business person makes progress with free things. Unless what Alex was telling me, I don't know what he was calling, proof of concept, maybe the proof of concept, then you can get a grants. And we have many people who are giving grants. In Kenya, I know there's somebody who was asking us, where are these youth that you people have realized they cannot be able to make progress? Give them to us. We can be able to give them the grants. But again, it's not as easy as it is being said. So that is one. So you can lease the land from the parents, you can lease space, you can lease from government. Those are the options that we came up with. You can lease from even your neighbor. But make sure that this lease is an agreement that can be taken to a court of law in case of violation. Then,
good afternoon. Before the project comes up, let me introduce myself. I'm Charity Kadabiri, and I'm from Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization. Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization. And in Karo, we have many institutes. We have some in Machakos. We have one in Machakos County. We have one in Thika. The headquarters is in Nairobi. We have one in Kakamega. Can you hear me without this? Can I use this? Yes. Oh, okay. Yes, those are our institutes. We have about 17 of them. And so myself, I'm stationed in Thika, where we have Horticulture Research Institute. And the institutes, we deal with horticultural products, the research in horticultural products, that is fruits, flowers, and vegetables. And I just want to do the introduction of why I work, and that is the research that we do. And mostly we provide technical, or we do research in terms of, I would say product development, from where we have the seeds up to the end of the value chain in agriculture, up to the post-harvest and processing. So it is all the way from where we develop the seeds, we develop the technical skills. In horticulture, we do the pathology, and up to the end of processing. So today, I am in Karo and horticulture, and I deal with the end of the value chain. That is post-harvest and value addition. But today, I'm going to refer it as product development. And this is where and I have seen it's not a new concept, because all of us, we have done it from the exhibitions. We have been participating in product development at the end of agricultural value chain. And that is one system in the agricultural value chain where we can have many youths or women involved in agriculture, rather than the production part of it, where we have the inputs and technical input. But at the end of agricultural value chain, that's where we can have a lot of women and a lot of youth getting involved in the agricultural sector. So just to take you back, and what is product development? What do we want to talk about? We just want to talk about how you change a product. And I have seen we have done that. A product from its original state, how it is grown, how you get it as a raw material, and then you, by means of many other things. It can be packaging. It could be a simple post-harvest process like ripening of bananas. It could be as packaging. Those simple processes that you do that are going to transform that raw material to something that is valuable. And that valuable product, the end product or secondary product, it will have, it is high priced. It's higher than the raw material. So that's what it means, product development. It's just transforming that particular product into a higher valued product. So if we ask ourselves, why should we do product development? Why should we do product development? I want to go back so that we can participate. I like a participatory class so that I don't talk alone here like Mwalimu. It's not new because we all have done it. So it's just asking our question, why should we do it? Should we do it because we know how to do it? Or why are we getting involved? Yes.
To improve its value so that you earn more profit.
To improve its value so that?
You earn more profit.
You earn more profit. Why do you do product development?
To create more jobs.
To create more jobs. I said we are not new in this, so it's just refreshing our mind. Why should we do it?
To reduce its perishability.
To reduce its perishability. Anyone else who has all, in a nutshell, that's what we mean. Yes, behind them.
To improve productivity.
To improve productivity, yes, because you are going to have more produce because you are making use of the product.
To reduce on wastage.
To
reduce on wastage.
To reduce wastage, yes, that is correct. I think we are all involved in that. And one thing that we do is product diversification. Why do you do product diversification? Because if we have, for instance, we have the green vegetables. We are able to get many products from that particular raw material. You are able to have many products, and then you are able to reach many customers who can be, or many end users who can use that particular product. Again, you are able to reach many markets. For instance, if you have the vegetables, they are green and they are produced in Kakamega. If you are going to have a product development or you add value to it, you are able to reach other people who are far away from where you are. So you diversify. Even other people will make use of your product. Some people maybe they may feel like vegetables like it's not palatable. But when you value add or you do a product development, that becomes palatable even to other people who may not be using it. So you diversify your market. Also, you are able to enhance food safety. That product, you're able to remove some things that are not edible or they could be hazardous or dangerous to the end user. Another thing you are able to preserve. For instance, I'll use vegetable many times because that's what the project is all about. It's about vegetables. And tomato is part of a vegetable. So if I mention a tomato, I'm not getting out of the vegetable, I'm still in vegetable. For instance, if you have a tomato, how long can you keep a tomato when it is ripe? 1?
3 days.
3 days, some say 3 days, some 1 week. So you're able to preserve that particular product or the raw material, and it can be used in future when it is still fresh or when it is still valuable, when it can offer what it's supposed to offer to the end user. Another thing is reduce post-harvest losses. And I'm usually very passionate about losses that happens in Kenya. They are usually 30% losses, especially in food-related agricultural products. For instance, in horticulture, vegetables, fruits, we have 30% lost. So if you're able to, she does mushrooms. And I am sure mushrooms, when you grow them and you harvest them, how long would they take when they're still fresh? 4 days. 4 days. But if you imagine you develop a product from it, like you dry it, within, you can use it even for 6 or 12 months. So in that case, you're able to preserve, to reduce the losses. If we say 30% of what is produced by farmers does not get to the end user. 30% of what is used by farmers, it does not get to the end user. What does that tell you? So if you are there and you're producing green vegetables, you produce 100 kg. That is what you say you take to the market. What reaches to the end user, it's only 70 kg. Imagine if you are able to do value addition or to do product development for whatever 100% that you harvested, and you get it to the end user. So you are able to preserve 100%. So reducing losses in Kenya is one that is going to also to ensure you as a farmer, you as a person who is involved in the production, you get the whole returns of what you're selling. Another thing is reduction of bulkness. We have seen someone doing vegetables. For a kg of dried vegetables, ukikausha 1 kg or 10 kg of dried vegetable, unapata gani? How much do you get?
Mine was from sweet potato.
Oh, yours is sweet potatoes.
I do 4 kgs fresh, then I get 1 kg.
1 kg.
Yeah.
And so that 1 kg, she's able to transport it to far place. So you reduce the bulkness of that particular product. For instance, if you have crates and crates of tomatoes, and from tomatoes you make tomato sauce, so it gets easier to take them to the market. So you reduce them and transportation and also storage. If you have crates and crates of tomatoes and you are able to process, even the storage area becomes smaller. So that's the reason why we do product development. Also improve the food quality. It becomes more acceptable rather than having the raw product. Make use of surplus. What we produce, we may be producing a lot and we are not able to take it in. So that's why we do product development. Or I could say value addition. We have a lot and you cannot take it in all of it. So what do? We produce a product that we are able to preserve and it can be used in future. Others is covers raw materials into edible products. What I have a picture is a picture of a cashew nut. We come from upper side of this country. Who has seen a cashew nut tree? Yes, a cashew nut tree. That is a cashew nut tree. The red part, it's not edible. It's not used in Kenya. I will not say other countries. They just pick the black part, which is cashew nut, and that is what it is used. But now look at that fruit. It's edible, it's sweet, but it is highly perishable. Once it drops, it rots immediately. So if you make use of, or we do product development for that fruit, the edible part of the cashew nut, we are able also to make use of something that was not being used. It's being used for as food. And we have said it offers employment, especially in rural areas, and this time now it is not rural areas. It is product development have also shifted. It has come to town where also people are making use of agricultural materials. So that's why we should do product development. And us as youth, I have seen someone asking about accessibility of the land. We can also get, as youth and women, we can also get involved in agricultural value chain by getting involved at the end of the value chain. We do product development for all those reasons. Because we are limited to access of the land, we are limited to its control. You cannot grow whatever you want, the perennials or the annual crops, you cannot. So what are we going to consider when doing product development? One, we must have high level of quality of raw material. Some people say if you want to produce, to process, I think I'm loud enough. Can I put it down? Yes, I think I'm loud enough. Thank you. Yes, one of the things that we consider is quality raw materials. There is a notion that when you want to do product development, you use the materials that are almost rotting. Well, that's what we say, that they can't go to a fresh market, that they cannot be bought. But that's not the case, because this food that you're processing, it will be used. So you need to have high quality raw material. Look at the cost of the raw material, what you are doing to process. Are you buying? Are you producing your own? And also, what is the cost of producing? So that you are able also to sell your product, the end product at profit. And that on marketing, I will leave it to the person who will do that. When you're doing product development, check on seasonality. Because if you now start doing product development, and you have told your customer, I'll be providing this thing, I'll be providing this product, I'll be providing a jam, I'll be providing dried products, I'll be providing dried sweet potatoes. Look at the seasonality that you are able all the time to do that. So when you start, there's no stopping, because you lose your old market and you lose the people who have confidence in you in product development, in products that you have developed. So it's good to have a you are reliable in terms of the volume. How much are you taking to sell? How much the product that you're selling to the end user, are you able to give the volume? If you're told we need packaged gooseberries, there's someone doing packaging of gooseberries, and you're supplying to a supermarket, because even packaging is also product development. Are you able to supply all the time? Because sometimes you can start something, and that's why the finance comes in. You start something, but then you're not able to get the raw materials. So before you do that, think about it. Am I going to have enough raw material? Will I be consistent? Will I be able to have the volume if I am asked by the supplier or the market to be supplying? Am I able to do that? Product differentiation in terms of quality, and this is about variety differences. In varietal differences, for example, in vegetables, we have many green leafy vegetables, and we have customers preferring, others would prefer terere, others would prefer amaranth, others would prefer mito. If you're drying sweet potatoes, others would prefer the white one, others would prefer the yellow. So be careful, even your end customer, what does she need, or what does the customer need? So you have to look at the varietal differences, so that you don't just do vegetables, or you just don't do sweet potatoes. You are very specific to what the customer needs. For instance, I'll give an example of if you are doing mango, and you're doing a mango juice or mango jam, there are those varieties, like the local ones. What do we call them? Tula to dogo even. If you, yeah?
They are called in dogo.
A dog? Yeah, they're in Machakos, so she knows them. They are very small. So if you want to do product development of that, you may not get people liking the flavor or the taste of that particular product. So it is important to look at what does the customer prefer. Another thing is health aspect. If you do product development, nutritional value, because you may be doing product development, but the end product does not provide what the original raw materials give because of the way of processing. If it is fresh sweet potatoes, the ones that are you're doing, yeah, for the vitamin, yes, vitamin A, yeah, the vitamin A sweet potatoes. You may dry them and you are selling them to a person in that notion, but you are not giving the value of that product. So it is important that your processes of product development, you're able to give almost, we say 70% of your nutritional value is accountable. And that is what Kenya Bureau of Standards check. Because they have the standards. If it's a product that has been developed they have standards, because if it is vegetable, we are doing it for what? For vitamin C, or for what else? Yeah? Minerals. So if you take your product and they test it and they see that you don't get to the threshold of what is supposed to be provided, they won't pass you. It won't pass. So your processes of product development has to be very, very careful so that you retain the nutritional value of the original raw product. Food safety. That's about using of chemicals, especially in vegetables, tomatoes. Your product has to be very safe. And also, what kind of water? Because water is quite important in processing. So when you're doing processing and you're washing your produce, because when the Kenya Bureau of Standards, they are doing your certification, they must come to the site where you are processing. You can't take to them the product and then they say fine. They will come to your site and they will check all the processes that you're doing so that they pass you. So water is very critical because of hygiene in product development or value addition. So those are the issues that we need to check when we are doing product development. So in product development, what do we require? As I repeat again, quality, and not just raw material, but quality raw materials. You need equipment, and this, I don't mean now equipment of an industry like how you find mango processing, it's so elaborate. Even small equipment, you need them so that you're able to get your end product. You need technical skills, because what will help you to be able to retain the value of your raw material, you retain the nutritional value, or you're able to reduce the hazard or make have safe food. You need the technical skills. And the technical skills come from, I know you have done it, you have sourced your technical skills from different sources, but be careful. Because once you get technical skills in sources that are not reliable, this time we are using internet a lot. We have a teacher called internet, isn't it? And he teaches. I'm not doubting, because they teach and you're able to get it. But it's also good to confirm with the technical persons, either from Kenya Bureau of Standards, KILD, as Carol, we have technical people who can train, and you're able to acquire valuable technical skills. I repeat again, clean water, very important when you're processing. Source of energy depends whether you are doing preserves. Preserves are like jam, juice, ketchup, all those. You need to have source of energy that is also cost effective. If you're drying, are you using solar? Are you using electricity? All those things, you've got to have them ready. And last but not the least, and that will be the next topic, it's the market. Sometimes we say we start from the head tail of marketing, so that when you're doing your product development, you'll see where you will take it. Because sometimes you present you are like, then what? And you have your product. So before you start doing the product development, do your market research well. And that I will not touch on it, because I know the next speaker will do a good job on it. So the next things are adhere to the regulations. Usikuje kufungiwa your processing unit. There are those things that are required. And one is water, accessibility, energy. All those things are very, very important when you're processing. The policies of the government, you can't ignore. The regulation and also the registration. What do you need for you to start doing your cottage industry? So one thing that you can do in product development is packaging. And before I come to packaging, there are other simple things. Packaging is a major thing because, for example, the mushroom, she's doing packaging, and that is product development. Because she can mean to put it. We work with youth in Thika town, and they started ripening. And so now it's a big, I call it a big partnership with the schools. So they're the ones who provide bananas to schools. So they added value, they diversified the market, they got new clients. So as simple as that is also product development. Packaging. These are garden pea. So na ile ya katikati, naona ha put X. When you, the garden pea, najua hatutoki Nyandarua ama huko juu mahali kuna kuzwa. But it is something I always think about. Garden pea are very, very perishable. Very. Zikikaa kwa maganda within 3 days inaanza nini? Kuoza. But when you shell them and put them in a panel, they're able to keep long. And you're able to sell. And you increase the price. Hii ya mkebe ya katikati, you'll go to a market and just get it. But when you shell them and put them in the first, the one at the left, you're able to increase its value and you get new market for it. So packaging, simple packaging does very well. I've seen someone doing gooseberries. Who has seen gooseberries being sold in Nakuru as you go from Nakuru heading to... So you have seen them. They are not shelled. They are not done anything. But now we had a person there having shelled the gooseberries. So you are able to increase the value of that product. Also, you are able to brand it. You advertise your produce. Because now if you have the shelled ones, the gooseberries shelled in a bag, and another one in that pan, you advertise your product because you are going to brand it, you differentiate yourself from other competitors. And so you also value add. Other products that you can do, I'll give an example of tomato. You can do many, many products of tomato. I know we are not here to do the processes of how it is done because it will take time, but those are the many products you can get from just one raw produce of tomato. So you are able to get all these products, you diversify your market, you reach many other markets, and so at the end of the day, you earn good money. For dried vegetables, and this can also apply to other products like mushroom. You can dry them, you package them, she has done it, but be careful that uzi just leaves. Unaona? Like you're not just selling dried leaves to the end user. That product should have the right vitamins, the right minerals, so that you're able to sell them. Those are the small equipments that you can use. Source of energy you can use as simple as a meko to do jam, to do juice, to do all those things. We say to weigh is very important. Like how much would you make from a raw material? Because you calculate your profit, your earnings from that. So we work with youth in Thika town, and they started ripening. And so now it's a big, I call it a big partnership with the schools. So they're the ones who provide bananas to schools. So they added value, they diversified the market, they got new clients. So as simple as that is also product development. Packaging. These are garden pea. So na ile ya katikati, naona ha put X. When you, the garden pea, najua hatutoki Nyandarua ama huko juu mahali kuna kuzwa. But it is something I always think about. Garden pea are very, very perishable. Very. Zikikaa kwa maganda within 3 days inaanza nini? Kuoza. But when you shell them and put them in a panel, they're able to keep long. And you're able to sell. And you increase the price. Hii ya mkebe ya katikati, you'll go to a market and just get it. But when you shell them and put them in the first, the one at the left, you're able to increase its value and you get new market for it. So packaging, simple packaging does very well. I've seen someone doing gooseberries. Who has seen gooseberries being sold in Nakuru as you go from Nakuru heading to... So you have seen them. They are not shelled. They are not done anything. But now we had a person there having shelled the gooseberries. So you are able to increase the value of that product. Also, you are able to brand. You advertise your produce. Because now if you have the shelled ones, the gooseberries shelled in a bag, and another one in that pan, you advertise your product because you are going to brand it, you differentiate yourself from other competitors. And so you also value add. Other products that you can do, I'll give an example of tomato. You can do many products of tomato. I know we are not here to do the processes of how it is done because it will take time, but those are the many products you can get from just one raw produce of tomato. So you are able to get all these products, you diversify your market, you reach many other markets, and so at the end of the day, you earn good money. For dried vegetables, and this can also apply to other products like mushroom, you can dry them, you package them, she has done it, but be careful that uzi just leaves. Unaona? Like you're not just selling dried leaves to the end user. That product should have the right vitamins, the right minerals, so that you're able to sell them. Those are the small equipments that you can use. Source of energy you can use as simple as a meko to do jam, to do juice, to do all those things. We say to weigh is very important. Like how much would you make from a raw material? Because you calculate your profit, your earnings from that. Thank you very much. And for product development, today you start it, it will also put a brighter future tomorrow. It will shape the future of tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Charity, thank you so much. Being a food scientist and nutritionist, I identify with what you have taught us here. And also being in product development, I am. So I think we already have questions, but we are very clear that product development is indeed in future going to help us produce creative foods that will meet demands for growing population. So I know we have questions to Charity. Yes. As we think of the questions to ask Charity, Charity, you're from Kaldro. I think we want to know what services you offer young people and who are in product development, and at what cost and how long it takes. If I come for a service, how long am I going to expect results from Kaldro? And also, if you have standards or regulations that product development, different products require for a young person to meet those standards for especially the international market. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. For us, I would say the technical services that we have. I had mentioned for us, we can do your product analysis. If you do your product and you develop it, you can come for nutritive value analysis. Would be able to give what your produce or your product contains. For the regulations, we don't have standards. Standards are kept by the regulatory body, and that is Kenya Bureau of Standards. And so when we do your product analysis, we'll send you to Kenya Bureau so that they can check the threshold of your product and see whether they will be able to certify you. For us, we don't have standards, we don't certify you, but Kenya Bureau does. The cost of analysis, if you take it to Kabete for analysis, it will take a week for mineral analysis, that is iron, zinc, potassium. And one analytical analysis is 1,000. One sample is 1,000. And for approximate analysis, it's very cheap for us at Thika. We do it at 400. That is for crude protein, crude fat, dry matter. Each analysis is 400 shillings. And dry matter is quite important in sweet potato.
Yeah, so it seems like product development is very easy because we have already developed products.
Yes.
Thank you, Charity, for the information and refreshing our minds why we do product development. And I think it's in line with the previous speaker who said we need to move high up in the value chain so that we can do value addition for all the reasons Charity has said. So I think it's now time that we go and do what we do best, eating. Yeah, so we can have a break, a lunch break, and then we can come back. Over lunch time, I have listened to a very interesting story, women to women talk. And I think one thing I picked from that story is that you can really forgo everything for your children, and after that you will reap the benefits of forgoing everything for your children. That woman is really amazing. She has a CBO right there, and it's doing amazing stuff. So, but she also mentioned Jeremy. She was wondering how come I don't know Jeremy. Jeremy, please can you start coming? And we're going to listen to him telling us about pitching. And I think that's what we all want to do right now. Pitch and get money, sindio? And also we want markets for our products. Tunataka kuuza hadi tutoke kukuwa na pesa, sindio? Yeah, so Jeremy, welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, every person who comes here to speak, we first begin if the mic is working. I don't know if you can hear me clearly. Yes, you can hear me clearly. Yeah, my good friend Fred told me that he has never seen me in a suit and a tie for the last 2 years that we've worked together. And so, if you Google my name, I'm more popular as a pastor more than a farmer or anything else. So when I get to grounds like this and I see something like this and I'm in a suit, I almost think like I'm about to preach. But I want to give up the temptation of preaching this afternoon. Okay, so how does this thing work, Collins? As we set up, I want to begin by indeed confirming that my name is indeed Jeremiah Rogito. I've been asked to speak on a subject that is really close to my heart. The issues around marketing specifically are elements and components that are very close to my heart. The theme that was chosen by the organizers for this event, is there anyone who has an idea what the theme of this conference, of this workshop is? Exchange program. Something like that. Yeah, specifically one of the latest players to go out said that promoting agroecological entrepreneurship among youth and women for sustainable tomorrow. You know, I had the privilege last year to be sent by SNV to participate in what is it called, the BDS conference in Mombasa. And oh sorry, there's someone recording here, so I don't need to move from one place to another like a theologian. I need to stick right here. I'm a very energetic pastor. Anytime I preach, I move from one corner to the other. And because of the camera, I'm going to focus. Yeah, and the focus for last year's BDS conference was issues around agri-circularity. And so many people are talking about agri-circularity. I had the privilege one time during breakfast to sit next to, actually saw a very beautiful lady was seated somewhere, and I decided to go and greet her that morning. So and luckily that morning also I put on an SNV t-shirt. She was in Mombasa for a launch of a project that was taking place in many countries and funded by the Dutch ministry or something like that. So she was very familiar with at least what SNV does. And so she quickly asked me, what am I doing in Mombasa, what am I doing in Sarova? And I said, we are here for some learnings and a lot of things. And then the next question is, so you work for SNV? I said, yes. What do you do in SNV? I said, I work in a vegetable project. What do you do with the vegetables? I promote simple practices like mulching, crop rotation. And then she quickly changed her face and began looking at me with a lot of pity. Alinihurumia sana, because you expect SNV to be doing serious stuff, not to be talking about crop rotation and mulching. In fact, I knew that was her thinking, because the next statement that she said after that was that, I mean, what's new in mulching? What's new in crop rotation? My grandmother has been doing this for many years. And then that's when I realized that I need to switch into technical terms. And that's when I introduced issues around regenerative agriculture. And see, luckily, because she's actually a lawyer doing a lot of things around environmental justice or something like that. So introducing the issues of people, planet, and profits. And luckily, our project name has planet and people, so you can easily link with very complicated terms. Yeah, but allow me to quickly get to what I've been asked to do. But I think it's important for me to mention this. There's someone called Sir Henry Dunant. Sir Henry Dunant. Anyone who has ever heard of such a person? Henry Dunant. When you talk about so Sir Henry Dunant in 1863 was a businessman. And his kind of business was doing large supplies, moving supplies from one part of the world to the other part. He's actually from Switzerland. He's Swiss. Someone from Switzerland is a Swiss, Bandar. Yeah. So he was doing large supplies, and at that time he needed a signature for someone called Napoleon to be able to transport things from one part of the world to the other part. And so he went looking for Napoleon to actually sign, but he couldn't find Napoleon III. So, and Napoleon was actually in war at that time. Present mapping today, we call it Italy. So he went looking for Napoleon in the battlefield. When he actually never met Napoleon, because when he arrived there, he found people, there was a big war, so many people were injured, a lot of bloodshed, and he left the battlefield without what sent him there. What had sent him there was a signature of Napoleon to enable him to continue this business. But he went home and founded something that we today call the Red Cross Society. Anyone has ever heard about Red Cross? Yeah, but you don't know about Henry. He received the World Nobel Peace Prize 19 something. That's like almost 30 years beyond since when he founded the Red Cross Society. The essence of telling this story is, I think it's more about the attitude. As we sit here, and I think Alex has made mention of it, is as you get out of here, is the attitude that you get out of it from here. Yes, you may get out of here and say, oh, that was just a full day waste of my time or something like that. But I think there is one or two things that you can be able to glean as you get out of here. Go and completely revolutionize the world, because for Henry, is that what he saw there and went around and changed the world completely by what we today call the Red Cross Society. Yeah, so marketing, to be honest, marketing itself is a big concept. There are a lot of things we can talk around marketing. Pitching itself, there are so many things we can talk about pitching, so I'll just focus on important issues, on very, maybe like I'll say minute issues, because if I'm to talk about marketing, we'll get out of here next week. If I try at best, maybe tomorrow, but I want to be as brief as possible. In fact, one of the latest videos I watched about pitching, it says that if you cannot do it in 12 minutes, actually it began by saying if you cannot do it in 3 minutes, please don't do it. Then it says if you really have to talk quite a lot, then make sure you do it in 12 minutes. So as a trainer, I'm already under heavy pressure to make sure that I follow with the trainings that I have received. I already mentioned that SME elements are very close to my heart. My master's degree, I did it in a business school and it focused on issues of youth and agribusiness. My doctoral dissertation is focusing on SMEs and youths. So what really we are spending time here is very close to my heart. Not just youth. When you talk about youth, there's both male and female youth. And we say that female youth have even a bigger problem. For male youth, at least there are better things they can gain access to a few things. But for female youth, it's even more complicated. I know you mentioned something around issues of land. And over lunch, I was telling Vandana that I don't own a single title deed. There is no land in Kenya that is under my name. But over the last 1 year, I've been farming on a 50 acres piece of land with no single title deed. How does that work? Is it possible? You know, I'm a pastor, I cannot lie to you. I only tell true things. You're looking at me as if I'm telling you rumors. Yeah, so most of these things that we're going to talk about are possible. Allow me to skip this. The only reason why I put on a suit today is that a few months ago I was invited to speak somewhere. And when I usually love arriving early. So I went a day before I asked them to book me to come a day earlier. So when I arrived that particular day, they looked at me and I saw there was some bit of commotion from the organizers. And actually the very person who invited me because he had given them a very big picture of myself. So when I arrived, and I don't buy t-shirts, all t-shirts I have are promotion t-shirts. T-shirts from projects or from OMO or from any of those organizations that are given down on the street. So when they looked at me and they said, and actually the person who invited me was really frustrated because they'd given a big budget for the speaker, for the keynote speaker, and then the speaker appears to be someone they cannot trust to deliver serious information. That's the only reason why I'm putting on a suit this morning, at least this evening, to justify the budget for the organizers of this event. I asked a friend of mine yesterday, I'm going to speak about marketing. And he's worked for international rural development, he's worked in private sector for a very long time. And I asked him, I'm going to talk about marketing. What is it that participants in that room must come out with? And he told me that make sure you make mention of the 4 Ps. But I told him, I mean 4 Ps, who doesn't know about the 4 Ps? Everyone has grown up hearing and learning about the 4 Ps. I know I have ambitions in future when I almost get to retirement to become a professor. And I hear for you to become a professor, you need to be very complicated. Even very simple concepts, you must deliver them like quinine. You must make people think that only you can understand these things. You will deliver things simply, people will not take you seriously. So as I reflected about it, and I thought I agreed with him, right, that the P's that we always talk about, the 4 P's, are very important. I'm not going to get the details of it because you're all very familiar with them, I think. But as we talk about any product, whether it's the vegetables, whether it's the insects, whether it's the fertilizer, whether it's the peanut, you need to think critically about what's the product. You need to think critically about the price for that product. And I think when you talk about marketing, you could even go even deeper to think about how do we come to price calculation, how do we estimate a price for the product you're working on? How do you determine whether this whole bottle will go for 1,000 shillings, 200 shillings, or 20 bob? And I think that's it's a whole lot of discussion that we don't have time to reflect on this afternoon. Another very important thing is about promotion, making that product known. My mom last evening when I was speaking to her, her phone she rarely has a screen protector in her phone or even a phone cover. And I was asking, and I noticed just last evening that her phone has a screen protector. And I asked her, how did it happen that you have a screen protector on your phone, yet I know how you operate your life, you rarely have this kind of things. And she said that one day she was walking home to home from work. And as she was walking, she had someone saying, screen protector, screen protector. Ilikuanga shilingi 350, sasa hivi tunauza 100. Hii hata ukiweka kwa mfuko sijui haigwarusiki na kifunguo, something like that. She had no intention, and she's not an impulse buyer, but she had no intention completely of purchasing that protector. But alipokuwa akitembea akisikia imetoka 350, sasa ni 100. She went there, purchased, and now she has a screen protector. And I'm glad that you all took time to come here, and especially those who took part in the exhibition. Because I mean, to be honest, I always say this, that farmers are very busy people, or even business people. It's even actually an honor for us to have you here. Because for you to sacrifice your time from your busy schedule to be here is huge. And I'm going to say many things, but when I will be talking about pitching, one of the things that I'll say is that pitching takes place even in one of the places that you don't think that never comes to your mind so easily. I already told you I planted a number of crops on a 50-acre piece of land last year, right? You know, one time when I was having lunch with a friend of mine, and so far I mentioned so many of my friends being ladies. Anyway, let me just proceed with this story. So I was telling her about the initiatives I'm planning. That was, actually I think that was 2020. And I had the ambition to upscale in that farm. You know, she gave me 250,000 Kenya shillings. 250,000 Kenya shillings. Okay, that was not a grant, it was given to me as a loan at 0 interest. You won't believe it, I didn't even have a proposal. I didn't have any written document. Of course, I had a written document because I had done all those Excel sheets, all those calculations, but I was speaking it from my mind. And we were speaking this, it was not even over serious, on a very serious meal or something like that. But one of the reasons I've sat and reflected on why that person will trust me with 250,000 Kenya shillings, and I've come to realize is the passion and zeal that I was speaking at that moment. And the belief that I had in that particular idea. It's the same way when I first farmed, and I've already mentioned I don't own any piece of land. The agreement with my friend then, he was my classmate, because he owns a huge piece of land. The agreement then was that he will provide the land and I will provide the technical knowledge. So my undergraduate degree was in BSc Agriculture. So basically all aspects of crop and livestock production. And I think we'll make mention of it also when we get to talk about something around pitching. Yeah. You know, I took you very seriously. I asked so many people what I will speak to you. So one of the guys sent me a number of slides. One of the slides that was there was around market analysis. But it's important and I think someone mentioned it in the morning, I think that must have been Alice, that as we consider on anything that you want to do within the agriculture space, you need to first reflect on the market. Where do you intend to take this product? How huge is it? What is the size of that market? What is your share? And about market analysis, how is that market structured? What is your target around that market? And over beyond that, also to reflect on your value. What are your unique selling points? How will the customers benefit? And you'll get this note, so don't worry about writing too much. Yes. So, and some things I'm skipping so that you ask me questions on that. I put this specifically here on something that I mentioned to you earlier. I know you can't see it, most of you can't see it. I already told you that for you to be a professor, you need to be very complicated. So this is one of the most complicated things that I have in my slides today. It's called the business model canvas. Most of you, I think, have had it, so many people are using it at this moment. You know, I first studied it when I was doing my master's in Strathmore. And a few weeks later, I was talking to a friend of mine. He now works for HEIFA in business development. And he told me when he was being interviewed, he was asked, what is it that you know that people don't know? Anytime I hear about this story comes to my mind, and he mentioned about, at least he had done his master's in South Africa, so he mentioned what he had studied about the business model canvas. And every day, every week at least, I'm involved in writing of concepts. And this is where Leah and Daniel from SMB should close their ears. Every week, I'm involved in writing of concepts, whether it's full proposal for SMEs. And I've come to realize that if you're able to fill in most of these parts, then you can easily come up with any proposal very quickly. If you have every of these particular components that have been filled, then you can easily quickly come up with that. Don't worry if you can't see it, because I'm going to share the notes and you're able to look in keenly. issues around partners, activities, the value proposition, revenue streams, and it's very easy to follow. It's not as complicated as it looks. As I mentioned, marketing and pitching itself is a big topic, and the time we have is limited, so I'm just going to make mention of a few things. Anytime we talk about pitching, there is the importance of preparation. It's Miguel de Cervantes who said to be prepared is half the victory. I love wrestling. You know, I used to watch, Triple H. Memskia. You know Triple H? For those who used to watch wrestling. I used to watch wrestling a lot when I was young. And I used not just to watch, but I used to watch and act wrestling. I have one of my cousins, if you went to where I come from today, in our regional village, if you met him, one of my cousins, he does not have his teeth, his front teeth ornament. And you ask about his history, you'll be told that there's a person who lifted him up and threw him down and lost his teeth. That's how much I used to love wrestling. But I remember when I took up my cousin Togori and put him up and threw him down and lost his teeth, wrestling was, we were told you can never watch wrestling in our house anymore. One of the fighters that I really love is Muhammad Ali, and you perhaps have heard this statement from Muhammad Ali. He says that he used to hate anything, every minute about training, because training really takes a lot of your time. But he says, but I say, don't quit or suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. One of the biggest challenges we have around SME development enterprises is that we say that they are not ready to receive money. So they need to go through a process of coaching and mentorship before they actually receive money. One of the recent challenges in recent times is that, and I'm in that space myself, I at least serve as board chair for one SME. I also serve in 2 other boards, so I fully understand this space very well. And I really hate it any time when we get someone who is about to give us money, and we need to go through training. We need to go through trainings for 3 months first before we get the money. And for me, at least from a business perspective, I'm more focused on the money. Even when I'm going through the training, I'm not interested in the training, because all that I want from this whole process is the money. But I'm always inspired by a story of Muhammad Ali. He says that anytime he himself hates training, practicing, but anytime he thinks about not practicing and the implications of not training, then he always pushes him to try and always practice. And I think, as already mentioned, that pitching takes place in the most weird places that you cannot think about. Even right here today, I know there are so many people who have been able to network and learn, and even some even pitch their own products and the services. So I think for any slightest opportunity given to you, we should always be able to take it and grab it gracefully. In fact, I usually say that agroecology in itself is an indigenous concept. I mean, let's be honest. Is mulching a very completely new concept that mnaisikia kwa mara ya kwanza since you were born? That if you go to meet your grandmother who has never been to any class, she has never heard about it. I think most of the agroecology concepts that we talk about today are indigenous knowledge. And so indigenous knowledge should be applied in at least from a start point from indigenous foods. And that's why I always say that regenerative agriculture and agroecology can be applied so easily in vegetables, because vegetables themselves are indigenous vegetables. So indigenous knowledge is best applied in indigenous foods. Allow me to mention something here that I have personally seen it in one of the organizations I served in their strategic planning docket. Is at some point they felt that it was too expensive to pay me. And they felt that they had so many concepts and so many proposals that I had written when I was there. So they felt that they could take any of those and panel beat them and send to any donor. You know, I attended the last event for Yalta, and I remember it was, can't remember the name of the professor, but it's Registrar Tigaton. And he said that, and I agree with him entirely, that for anything that we do, it's important to know your market and speak to your market. So that if your market wants organic produce, and these are his words, don't say that I'm the one who's saying it, these are his exact words. If you are in Nakuru, you can confirm he said this. That if your market wants organic produce, all that you need to do is to brand it organic, even if you didn't prepare it organically. If you brand it and say it's organic, people will trust it and purchase it. But of course, there's a whole issues around traceability right now. And the reason I'm saying this is because when they felt that you can take any concept and send it anywhere and it be accepted, they lost so many opportunities that they would have easily gotten. And because every person who is giving finance, whether it's the bank, whether it's an NGO, or any person, or an angel investor or an impact investor, there are specific things that they want to hear. And if you don't speak to those things that they want to hear, then you're automatically out. I mean, if you are applying to any people who are talking about regenerative agriculture, it doesn't matter how many times you mention agroecology or anything, they might be similar concepts, but all they want to see is that particular name that they are keen on. Allow me in conclusion to mention the 4Ds, the Rogito 4Ds to agricultural success. Unfortunately, I have not published them. I hope to publish them soon so that anyone can use them. We talk about we talk about Warren Buffett, we know him of a few things that he mentioned, but I have my own 4Ds that I've developed. If you've listened to me before, you know where I got the 4Ds from. In my first year and fourth year in campus, I scored 4Ds. My first D was in mathematics in first year. And I always say that anything that was bad cannot be bad forever. We can turn bad things to be good things. So I never scored an F in gardening. My worst grade was a D. And I say that we should be able to dream and dream big. The element of diversification has been talked about here quite a lot since morning. I think every speaker who has spoken here is about product development, about financing. They've talked about the importance of diversification. Then the other D is determination. Determination in whatever space that you are acting on, whether it's in input supply, whether it's in the marketing front, you need to be really determined in whatever that you undertaking. And as I mentioned from the beginning that I'm a pastor, I'm actually at the seminary now studying some Christian concepts. And so I believe in something bigger than myself, and I call it divinity. And any farmer believes in this. I mean, when you go and put in a seed, the scientific process is bigger than the scientific process that goes to it. So to believe in something bigger than yourself that controls everything that we undertake. I recently signed for Kenmos FC. It's a big football club where I come from in Eldoret. Anyone who knows this player? Asamoah Gyan. I will have played a video, but I noticed that my time is already up. But you remember the story of his, for the first time in the World Cup that was taking place in African soil, the Ghana Football Club went up to was in the quarterfinals. Yeah, it was the quarterfinals, the rounds of 18. Yeah, and for the very first time, perhaps, we will have had an African team to participate, go all the way up to the finals. I wish you had time to watch the video, will have understood it for those who are not familiar with the story, but you can get for those who are familiar with the story. Asamoah Gyan was given an opportunity to kick a penalty on the very last minute of the game. The very last minute of the game. It's common knowledge on what he did. I believe and trust that in any opportunity and activity we've been given to, that we should be able to take it and take it with all our heart. So as a pastor, I must finish with a call. You don't just preach and leave guys like that. Lazima uitishe wito. So if you are involved in crop production or anything that deals with crops, I challenge you to do more with those crops. If you're involved in livestock production, whether it's pigs or chicken, I challenge you to do more with those particular pigs and cows and whatever it is. If you're in seed production, whether in the market end or in discussions, please do more of that. if you are a researcher in the room, and I know there are a number of researchers here, please do more research. Especially, we know the context that is happening today, we are under the context of agroecology. We must not lose sight of that. We're discussing so many things, but within the agroecology and regenerative agriculture concept. And if you taking pictures, please take pictures with things that matter. But I think most importantly, to challenge you to consume regenerative agriculture products. You know, we've done some bit of gross margin analysis in the last period of time, and we noticed that whereas people are able to produce, whereas it reduces the cost of production, people are not making much more on the market end because consumers are not more aware of the importance of consuming these regenerative products or agroecologically produced products. So you as the start point, you need to be the first consumer of the product. You need to demonstrate that you believe in the product that you're working on. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You have a nice afternoon.
It's so difficult to speak after Jeremiah, right? So I'll only say two things I picked, and now I understand why I was asked. You mean you don't know him? So I met him earlier, but I didn't know he's the Jeremiah. So that was a good sermon and call to action. Let's consume regenerative agricultural products. Let's consume what we produce locally to shorten our food value chains, to shorten the food miles, and of course reduce carbon emissions. And also what he said about being prepared is like you're very close to victory, halfway to victory, so don't give up. I know we have questions for him. Who will start us off? Of course.
Thank you for that. But I have a question, and maybe it's not your to answer. It wouldn't make sense for me for business people to come in a city like this and maybe fail to go with the content of the day. In terms of pitching, because of cost time. 45 minutes. But you realize we are in the business of scaling up what we do. We're in the business of what that small activity that we're doing, we want to get to the platform where it has a huge market. So maybe you can touch on the specifics, what you should consider when pitching. Because I understand we have the general aspects of our pitching. When you are ukitengeneza hiyo business yako, your concept, what key issues should you touch so that hata kama is not definite to one kind of value chain, you should consider hata kama unafanya nini, so that maybe we can prepare ourselves to kirudi pale home, we can go and refine what we do. Because I have a pitch in September and I want to do this. Thank you.
When you get those monies, remember us. So somebody else with questions, with a question or questions? Our speaker is complicated enough. He can take all the questions and answer them.
Given that today we are in, as most of us are to you, could you briefly maybe talk about a role of social media in the market? Role of social media.
This is something else, the role of social media.
What is the process of checking if a product is organic, and how can we as youth know where to take our products to be verified that they are organic when we are selling them?
Yes, the organic market has a lot of money, so we want to all of us want to. Yeah. Another question? Okay. So Jeremiah, I think you can take those questions. Okay.
When we talk about the pitching, components of the pitch should be the canvas as a
one should it be? And what are those things that disqualify us when we are talking about pitching?
So thank you very much. When talking about pitching, I think you need to take the shortest time possible to convince those people that you can be able to do that. And of course, as I already mentioned, preparation for that pitch that becomes very important. And I think part of the preparation is for you to be here and also to understand some of these concepts, but over and beyond this, also preparing very well on what you're going to mention at that particular point. During your preparation, it's important to appreciate and understand what do those people want to hear. Even pastors, they need to, when they are preaching, they talk to congregants on what the congregants want to hear sometimes. Even politicians, actually politicians are the best example to use here. They have to speak to what speaks to your heart, and that is what they need to focus on. But I think most importantly, the pitch is, what is the pain point? What is it that your product or your service is going to fix in the market? What does that product do so as to be able to fix that particular pinpoint? Reflecting also on how are you able to attract the customer to ensure that you are able to retain them. I know this is important not only for SMEs, even for large NGOs. One of the biggest sources of financing usually is repeat donors or something like that. People who already trusted in you and can be able to invest more on that. So reflecting really in terms of customer attraction, people who can keep on purchasing your product. I think the issue around your team, we need also to trust the people that are going to do that particular assignment or going to facilitate that particular process or that particular business. We cannot just give money to any other particular person. We need to have trust that you have the opportunity to be able to deliver.
It's very difficult to do the last session of the day, especially after lunch. Once again, I introduce myself. I am Rosina Benya. I'm the country coordinator for Pelham Kenya. I'll be talking about our work in the youth sector, and I also will talk about generally what Pelham Kenya is doing, and also merge with the way forward. So Pelham Kenya is part of a larger Pelham Association, which is in 12 African countries. Our work basically is promoting agroecology, and in Kenya we have a network of 56 member organizations who are spread out in different parts of the countries. Office location in 27 counties, but operation in 42 out of the 47 counties. And we are in different regions so that we can also be able to address regional needs and also to deepen our engagement, particularly at horizontal learning. So those are the what we call zones in Pelham Kenya. We have the Nairobi and Central Zone, Rift Western and Kenya Zone, on the Lower Eastern and Coast Zone, and then Upper Eastern and Northern Kenya Zone. Now our work is agroecology, maybe just to break down into layman's language, more of agriculture, which is environmentally friendly, and we are promoting the agroecological principles and practices. Maybe you can Google later, but these are the practices that are promoted by our network members: organic agriculture, permaculture, biointensive, sustainable agriculture, biodynamic agriculture, biological farming, and the natural way of farming. Then we have regenerative agriculture. And
I think now, every time you sit on your laptop or you want to write a call for grants, you can't finish your concept before mentioning the people and the planet. Yeah. So let's endeavor. I know we are working on our various projects, but let's come together, work as a nexus, bring out the nexus for the people and for the planet every time, because that is the next big thing. Food insecurity, we are going to look for food. Climate change, we are going to look for how to take care of our environment. So being brilliant young people, we already have seen the gap, and let's do exactly what the gap needs us to do. Sinivo. Sawa sawa. It has been a pleasure
being your moderator. You don't get these opportunities every day. This is a very rare opportunity and I'm privileged. Thank you so much, Collins. Thank you so much, the organizers. And I look forward to meeting all of you, young people elsewhere, young people and women elsewhere, and let's keep growing in this tough journey. It is tough, isn't it? Yeah.
We have come to the end of our workshop. I don't know whether it was useful for you. I know it was very useful for me. I learned there is Enable Youth. They have 3 kinds of grants. If I were you, I'd be busy looking at when they plan to do their next cohort, when there is TNS with their SEMI, and they say that they have a second incubators program that's coming up. One of our youths actually applied. If you're part of the SNB group, SNB has a lot of groups, WhatsApp groups with the youth. And I keep on posting these things, and people are very interested. Youth are very interesting. Eh? You'll see it. Nipoa, moving on to the next post. Moving on to the next post. But the people who actually want to apply, they apply. And nobody ever comes and tells me, it's very rare for someone to come and tell me, Ikituli post, what is it about? Tell me more about it. Can you help me apply? No, just look, it's another WhatsApp post. Moving on. And I mean, there are a couple of you who are going to come and tell me, can you please send us the link? And I always say, if you have any challenge, tell me. People don't. One of our youths applied for the TNS Accelerator platform. He got in. He's among the youth that they are incubating. We are hoping he gets to the next level. And he's doing what any of you are doing. So opportunities are there. We are willing to share. It's up to you to decide, is it just another WhatsApp post like in our family groups where we have 101 posts in a day, or is it something useful for you? So I would like to first give an opportunity to any of you who would like to give a vote of thanks to the facilitators, the stakeholders who came. If there's any of you who would like to volunteer yourself, and I have a volunteer, thank you, to give a vote of thanks because they've done a good job. Have you enjoyed? Yes. I would also like to, and Fred is going to help me, we do a club called a Regenerative Agriculture Club. Because I'd really like to thank all of you who came, for coming with your products, for doing the exhibitions, for learning. So Fred, please help me with, and we do it while standing. Si kama tumekaa.
Thank you, Madam Blair, for that opportunity of sharing this club. And the Regenerative Agriculture Club is very much regenerative. We make ourselves regenerated once we club it. And this is how it goes. When we say regenerative agriculture, we clap and also stamp our feet on the ground. So we say, regenerative agriculture. Regenerative agriculture. I think we have gotten it. So I want us to regenerate our energy so that this room can feel the Regenerative Agriculture Club. So let's go. Regenerative agriculture. Regenerative agriculture. Regenerative agriculture. Thank you so much.
Thank you for regenerating us. We really appreciate. The other vote of thanks I'd like to give is for our stakeholders who came to be with us. We have PELAB, we have had TNS, I call them TNS TechnoServe. We have someone else. We have our facilitators who helped us, give the information. And a special vote of thanks to our core organizers who are Yalta, who actually are the people who came up with this event, who are the brainchild, and us, we came in to assist. So thank you so much to Pole and the Yalta initiative for taking the bold step to bring the youth together. I'd like to thank you so much, the youth, the stakeholders, Yalta, the hotel, for making this such a wonderful experience. I don't know if you have enjoyed it, but I have. Even the guy who came with my bags finally delivered my turkeys. So there are a few suggestions I've gotten. One is somebody has suggested we make a common WhatsApp group for the entrepreneurs. So I don't know if it's something that you'd like.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I have a yes. I want a volunteer on the person who's going to be the host of the admin, who's going to take up the role of taking the names, adding you guys on one WhatsApp group.
Faith.
No, not Faith. What if Faith leaves? I want you entrepreneurs to, one of you, to take up that initiative. Ama mwenye ameandika suggestion hapa.
Sema.
Hakuna mtu anajitolea. Imagine tungekuwa tunajitolea kupata 1 million. Tungekuwa wangapi? Sorry? You will do it. Thank you very much. So, and then he said, when we do the other, and yes, you are actually anticipating us. He's suggesting that we invite very many people who are around money. This is all about money. Anataka tu pesa. Anataka Equity Bank, anataka KCB, Uwezo, Women Fund, Youth Fund, State Department. Au watu wote anataka kuwaona hapa, wamwambie kwa nini hapati hiyo pesa yenye wamesema is meant for them. So we will try as much as possible and invite them. We are thinking maybe next is to do themes. If it's a finance theme, then it's a finance day. So if you have all your money questions, you come and ask. But as I said, these opportunities are there. We are youth, we have a lot of access, we have, all this information is being plastered every day in our socials. So, do something beyond just swiping left or right. Actually engage and see. Okay, so if there is no any other business, yeah, I'd like to announce that we've officially closed our workshop. Yeah, and if you can get a t-shirt, get out, get a photo, then you have your tea, and then we disperse.
Let us believe us and pray. Mungu muumba wetu uliyeumba na hukumbwa, tangia utatu wako mwanzo kwenye neno lako ulianza na Bwana ukamaliza. Tazama tumetoka sehemu mbalimbali kufika wakati huu, tumelala, tumekula, tumesoma, tumekuwa na watu ambao hatukuzaliwa nao, na Mungu yote ambao tumenena yuko mbele zako e Bwana. Tunajikabidhi mbele zako wakati huu tunapomaliza, Roho wako Mtakatifu akaweze kuandamana nasi. Tunapoenda safarini, wenye watabaki Nairobi, wenye wataenda Western, wenye wataenda sehemu mbalimbali, wanaenda kutumia vyombo ambavyo vimetengenezwa na mkono wa mwanadamu na ujuzi wa mwanadamu. Tunaomba Roho wako Mtakatifu akawe nao, akaenende nao kwa kila safari, na hata walimu wetu Bwana tunawaombea wakaweze kuimarika kwa mbali na upana kwa sababu ya utukufu wako. Kwa jina la Yesu Kristo tunaomba na kuamini. Amen.